Hello, welcome back to Bad Writing is Better Than No Writing.
This is a podcast by the Stellar Jays, your host, Jocelyn.
And Julia.
Yeah, so we get together and discuss our old writing, which may be considered bad by some standards, such as our own.
Yeah, and probably a few other standards as well.
Yeah, but the important thing to remember is that bad writing is better than no writing because you can't edit something that isn't there.
Exactly, and you cannot improve unless you do all that bad writing first and get used to writing good.
Our first episode, our last episode, we started reading my story called Feathers of Night, which is a story about vultures. So we followed a few different point of views. We were learning about the king vulture's son, who I believe his friend had been taken away. There was a vulture named Malfin, who had an eye patch, which then led to an interesting question about the existence of vulture seamstresses in this world. We also were introduced to Flicka, who is a vulture who is a girl. For some reason, that was very important. She had really good hearing, and she was a girl, and she was based in the desert as part of the vulture soldier group, something like that.
Something like that. There is a vulture army, and amongst other vulture professions.
Yeah, there's a vulture war going on for sure.
There is a vulture war going on within a vulture kingdom, or even several vulture kingdoms.
It seems as though there's probably two at least. There seems to be a Thorvicus realm, a Malgicross realm, and that's another thing you'll see a lot of is just strange names.
Right.
And there's also a no man's land, which again, the existence of that is quite interesting because they're vultures. Should it not be called a no vulture land?
Yes, it's already a no man's land.
And finally, we were introduced to Zarathos, and he is another vulture who was helping Malfin out in this big healing cave that they got going on. So he went off to do some errands, and he actually ran into the king vulture's son in the middle of this strange city that vultures have used. They've built mud towers around a big singular tower.
Right. You know, I was going to write down all these names so that I could remember them because I'm bad with names, and then I totally didn't.
Yeah, that's fair. I remembered them because I spent hours writing them down in different different ways, trying to figure out the perfect mouth feel.
Right.
So Sigareth is the king's son. We have Malfin, who's the eye patch one.
Yeah.
We have Zarathos, who's the healer / messenger / nosy gossip.
Okay, he's my favorite.
Yes, Zarathos was your favorite.
Right.
Last we had seen Zarathos, like I said, he had seen the king's son, and then he ran away to tell Malfin all about it.
Just forgot all his errands.
Yeah,
Did not even get any paper or ink or anything needed.
Yeah,
just ran away.
The vulture pulp mills are gonna suffer for that lack of sales there.
Oh, no kidding. Jeez. And then we have Flicka, who is the girl vulture, who is in the vulture, no vulture zone.
Yeah, the no vulture land.
No vulture land. Yes, sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
So we ended off last time, I think, on Flicka.
Let's take a look here. So I believe that the last scene was Zarathos.
Was it?
Yeah. He that's when he just abandoned all of his errands and just flew right back to the mountains because he saw the king's son.
We did end on him. Okay.
Yeah. So as we pick up chapter 3, we're going to actually switch POVs back to Sigareth. So Sigareth is the king's son.
All right. Back to his moodiness, who has run into
Zarathos. You can call him Zero for short.
Thank you. He's run into Zero. He flashed his biceps, his vulturish biceps. So Zero was like, "Oh, never mind. You're not in any danger in this town," and then ran off.
Yeah. He ran off to just spill the tea to all the other vultures he knew because he's like, "Oh my goodness, is that the king's son? Like,
oh my god,
everyone needs to know about this."
Exactly.
Just my friends, though. I'm not going to tell everyone.
So now we're back to Sigareth.
Yeah, so we're going to see what Sigareth thinks about that event. That just happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. So to pick up, we're on chapter 3. Sigareth peeked around the corner. The big vulture was gone. Good. If that one had recognized him, then he could have told his father and got Sigareth into a whole lot of trouble. And
Like he wouldn't be in trouble already.
That's because Sigareth ran away from home.
I think you already have enough trouble there, buddy.
Yep. At least he didn't seem to mean any harm, unlike the bigger, more brutish vultures he had seen not too long ago. If those ones had found him eavesdropping, he probably would be dead right now. Though even though they didn't find him, it seemed like he was as good as dead already. So now here's a little flashback of how the vultures, these brutish vultures were speaking.
Sure.
That Maldacross king's as good as dead, one had said. That rhymed. And his son? Asked another. That little brat? Ha! We'll just drive him out to one of them deserts. Like the Sabinlin, for instance. Sides, Captain Jern has it all figured out. Those stories about how the Blackfeather Nation will be destroyed by the free nations of vultures uniting? Rubbish! Aye, yes, of course. Why not? Sigareth had left about then. And see...
I just love that he walked in on that very convenient conversation. I mean, there's so much things to like about that as well. The multitude of responses that you have put in, the fact that they had said driven him away, and I know they mean in another way, but I'm just imagining them in like a vulture Toyota Corolla.
Of course.
Driving him into the middle of a desert.
Yeah, they'll just literally drive him.
They'll literally drive him, of course.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just really love the convenience of this conversation.
Yeah, we don't really know where he was when he heard this either.
I'm imagining him being like behind a convenient pillar of some kind.
Right, in this mud city.
In this mud city. Exactly.
Yeah, like they were probably at their favorite tavern, because I'm assuming vultures here have taverns.
Oh, they do.
Yeah, and he just like was listening in on all these vulture pirates.
They are pirate. I was going to ask, I'm like, are they Scottish?
I think they're pirates. I think we're gonna find out in a few paragraphs here, like directly. But
I love
using
that
words like Captain Jern is very.
That was
pirate.
my next question. Is like I heard a name in there that I did not recognize. Captain Jern.
Yeah, Jern.
Oh boy. So they're pirates. Does that mean we have vulture boats?
No, of course not. Maybe they're more like you could consider them more like internet pirates who steal things. Except
okay.
Of course the internet also doesn't exist.
Right. Okay. Vulture pirates.
Yeah. So Sigareth is now like, well, now that he knew, what could he do? Another rhyme.
You've done that like 3 or 4 times now. It's delightful.
Yeah, I'm a fan of this.
Yeah.
No one would believe him, even if he was the king's son.
Why?
That's such a good question. Me reading this, I'm like, but why Sigareth? Like, no one would believe that people want to kill the king?
Nothing like that has ever happened before in the history of ever.
Exactly. Yeah. Unless, of course, though it was as far-fetched as the notion that the Blackfeather Pirates, there we go. So as far-fetched as the notion that the Blackfeather Pirates would conquer the world, maybe the Sabinlin desert troops would help him. So he is still deciding, maybe he decided here that he would go to the Sabinlin desert, which is where the Blackfeather Pirates just said they'd drive him to.
Why doesn't he just wait? Just convenient, get a ride. You know, like...
Save him some vulture gas.
Some vulture gas. Exactly. And I love that it's like no one would believe him unless I got help from the army.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Wait, you just wait till this next sentence here.
Right.
The Sabinlin desert troops were considered secretive, and anyone who wanted to find them was considered crazy. So they are desert troops, but you can't find them.
And like, you'd be crazy if you tried.
Yeah, don't go to the desert. In fact, the desert will roast you alive was a favorite warning. Also,
The desert.
little,
But
Yeah.
we were talking about the troops.
the little food out there is very hard to catch. You'll starve before you get anything fresh and dead.
Are we supposed to be afraid of the desert or the soldiers in the desert?
Or the Blackfeather pirates who will throw him into the desert.
Right. So, like, first off, what use is an army when you, like, put them in a place where nobody goes?
Yeah, the troops is like, I think that I maybe was thinking like mercenaries, because troops really sounds like an army.
Yeah.
Like you have troops, they work for someone.
Right.
They're not just random guys hanging out.
Yeah. So, like, yeah. Okay. They're mercenary. Okay. Let's continue.
Yeah. Ha! Sigareth cried. He swiftly checked to see if anyone had noticed his outburst.
You do that a couple of times. Sigareth, maybe it's just Sigareth has this habit of unable to hold back his exclamations, and then he has to, like, look around very, very cinematically.
Yeah, he's like, he just has like these outbursts.
Yeah.
Yeah. He swiftly checked to see if anyone had noticed his outburst. Good. No one in sight except for that ragged vulture in that other alleyway over there. Obviously, right now it was supper time for the denizens of the Maldracross city. I don't know why that means it's supper time. Maybe because no one's in sight, so everyone's inside their houses for vulture dinner?
Oh, perhaps.
Eating around the dinner table?
Yeah.
The nuclear family of vultures?
Right, which everybody is, and nobody's ever in the streets at, for example, 6 o'clock in Abbotsford.
No, yeah, that doesn't happen.
No, except for, like, one lone person in an alleyway.
Yeah, it's strange that he said that one ragged vulture in the alleyway over there.
Yeah.
Like, he sees them. It seems like that is someone, isn't it, Sigareth?
Yeah.
No one around except that person who's around.
Well, I know. Like, who cares about that guy, I guess. But also, like, is this not right after it's been described as being super duper crowded?
Yeah. It's like almost like an invisible dinner bell rang that only these people could hear.
I imagine them just, like, immediately filing out of the streets into their mud towers.
Yeah. Well, that was the other thing, is that they're all like bustling on the ground of this city when they're vultures and they should be flying.
No, of course not. No, those are just decorative wings, Jocelyn.
I suppose that if a vulture ended up in a chasm, it would be really hard to get out because they really prefer to use like updrafts. So this is a pretty badly designed vulture city, but maybe a really well designed vulture trap.
Okay.
It's like Las Vegas.
Right.
Once you're in, you never leave.
Right, exactly. This is Vulture Las Vegas. Las Vulture.
Yes. It's perfect. LV. Ha, he said again, much softer. He didn't need anything fresh and dead. He could catch his own food. He looked down at his talons, the one that the big vulture had stared at. These were plenty strong enough to catch even the biggest rabbit, and they were adequate defense against the common thieves. But not those huge hulking ones he's seen, so should be he'd seen earlier. He would decidedly be dead if he even another error. He would decidedly be dead if he even though about trying to face them alone. So there it should be. He would decidedly be dead if he even thought about trying to face them alone.
I'm confused at his state of mind, or I can't quite put a finger or a talon upon his state of mind. He goes between being like, I will be dead if I get caught by these people, and also just delight with his exclamations of ha, and he sounds very villainy there. So I don't know what mood he's in.
Yeah, I know. I'm getting a bit of that from Sigareth, that he seems like maybe temperamental.
I think so.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to have like a real even keel in any of his decision making.
I don't think so either. I don't.
Yeah, he's afraid of going to the desert, but then he's like, but maybe if I went to the desert, I could find these troops that don't want to be found and they could help me, because no one would believe me that someone wants to kill my dad, and I'm in big trouble because I ran away from my dad.
I think his priorities are off a bit. I think that he's saying, okay, the preferable way to go about this is going into this very dangerous desert that I could possibly starve to death or burn to death in, to these soldiers who could possibly kill me. because nobody would believe me about some very believable thing. And also I might get in a touch of trouble for running away.
Yeah. Yeah, here we are, this apparent main character, and it's like he's got the motivations of 3 different people running around in that little head of his.
He does. So, I mean, it'll be lost, I think, this concept of not being believed. And I think he's just going straight to, these guys will help me with this mutiny idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like he needs to find this army to help protect,
right,
you know, his land, his dad, himself, from the pirates.
Right. But even though he could just tell his dad.
Yeah, and like it's interesting how that's just not an option, and we don't actually find out. I mean, we haven't found out yet who the friend was that his dad sent away, why that's a big deal, where is this friend? We don't know anything really.
Right. I mean, in a more polished, thought out, older version of this book, we could make this so that the motivation is he's run away not because he only just realizes that day that he could, but because of some other reason.
What, you know, you have to listen to the previous episode to get that whole story.
Right, exactly. But yeah, so he's run away, but then he's faced with this quandary of he knows his dad will never forgive him, or he wants to redeem himself somehow from something he's done. And so he's like, I can do this. Or he's like wanting to prove himself. So he's like, I can protect my country or my kingdom on my own. I'm going to seek out these mercenaries on my own.
Yes.
So he's trying to prove himself.
Yes, that's a much stronger motivation here. Because here it almost feels like he's being forced to. And the thing is, we don't really know what his motivation was, just that I can run away.
Yeah.
And now suddenly having heard these pirates discussing regicide, he's like, oh, I guess I have to do something about that. But I can't do the simple, most obvious thing.
No, of course not.
Because I'm in trouble.
Right.
Trouble with my dad.
He probably would have been able to work himself out of that if he had just brought this really important information to his dad. And then his dad would be like, okay, this takes priority. These guys that are trying to kill me, I will be easy on my son.
Yeah. If I wanted to keep Sigareth as kind of like an immature teenager, maybe like not really sure what he's actually doing, he could even have this moment to be like, I should go back. And that would be exactly his motivation. Like, I'll go back, tell my dad, he'll be too busy about this to get me in trouble for running away like that. But then the pirates do catch him or something of that sort. Like, there could be an interesting twist there where he suddenly is actually like his little flight of fancy perhaps of running away is suddenly very serious and he's in big trouble.
Yeah, we could even have it so that his little running away thing wouldn't have been noticed by his dad. Like he was planning on coming back, like he was just going out for the night to test himself, and then suddenly it's become some big thing. Anyway, let's continue.
Yeah, these are some interesting ideas to play around with in the future.
Yeah.
So, but now he had things to do. Already, it was fixed in his mind. He would go to the Sabinland Desert and try to find the Watchers of the Desert. Then, if he was successful, he'd take them and... Right. Ha! Okay, maybe first he'd just go and make sure that they existed. Then, he'd cross that bridge when he came to it. As he stretched out his wings and flew out of the city, a thought went through his mind. At least now he had a plan. Always good to have a plan, his father had said. Now he was carrying one out. End scene.
Did his dad make that phrase up?
Always good to have a plan. It's his catchphrase, his king catchphrase.
Love that, speaking of phrases, there are bridges in vulture culture.
Yeah, that's really interesting that they would need to make a bridge.
Imagine.
Yeah, I did realize earlier, too, something we glossed over a bit, was that Sigareth is thinking, I could just catch a rabbit with these powerful talons.
Right.
But in the other vulture POVs, we did find out that some of the vultures take care of marmots and try to nurse them back to health.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
so,
I almost caught that, too, but didn't quite. Yeah, so rabbits deserve to die.
Yeah. I mean, he's a predator. They're a rabbit. And I mean, it sounds as though rabbits have capacity for speech that they understand, but Maybe he's just a little nepo baby and doesn't really care.
I think so. I think that might be the case. But then again, we had in the healer's house them just eating voles.
Yeah, are voles too small? Or is there like a size thing here? I'm not entirely clear on what my own world building
I don't know if
criteria were.
I don't think it'll ever clarify. I just love that we go so far, not even just like, the Lion King logic where there are sentient other animals, but also the lions eat them.
Yes.
That's always been a bit shaky for me anyway, but this is where they actively heal the animals that they then swallow whole.
Yeah. Like, I don't think that particular marmot that was mentioned is going to be a meal directly for those vultures, but there's a very real chance that as soon as it leaves the hospital, leaves the healer's home, waves goodbye, and then wanders down the mountain, that a different vulture will just pop down and be like, "Oh, dinner!
Of course.
I could feed my family."
If I were a vulture, I would hang around that area knowing that like just healed, very weak animals are going to be exiting that hole in the mountain.
This is grim. This is so grim.
Yeah. They're actually just making it easier for these people to die, for these animals.
Yeah, the cave of healing or whatever it's called.
And the exit of demise.
Yeah, you enter, but you might not come out.
Or if you do, very briefly.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't leave out that door. They have different doors, perhaps.
Maybe.
Or maybe they don't care. It's really hard to say.
It's like once you're out our doors, you're on your own.
Yeah, in lieu of insurance, that's how they deal with it.
Oh, gosh. Okay, were we at the end of something?
Yes, so that's the end of Sigareth's POV at the start of this chapter now. He's decided that he's going to make sure that the troops actually exist, which is an interesting leap as well.
Well, yeah, because, the moment you find out they exist, you need to carry out your next plan. So maybe you just, figure out your plan.
Yes.
It's always good to have a plan, as his father says.
Yeah, so commonly says.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, that's very interesting, because in some ways it feels like the end of this chapter regresses some of the information we had.
I think so, because, we know they exist.
Yeah, we know, Flicka's part of them.
Right.
And Sigareth is like, wait a second, the vulture pirates were saying I would be put in the desert, and then I thought, well, maybe I should go to see the troops. Oh, but maybe I need to find out if the troops exist. So the army, there's just a branch of the army that might or might not exist in the desert.
So it's like me saying oh, I need to go to Canadian Tire to get myself a car battery. And then I'm like, but wait, maybe I should first find out if Canadian Tire exists. And instead of going online, I drive there.
Yes, because you know roughly where it is.
Right, and
it's Canada.
Yeah.
You drive eventually in Canada and you'll find it. I'm assuming this desert's pretty big, so I'm not really sure what his plan is there either.
Oh, man. You have to listen to your father, Sigareth. Take his advice.
This is such a kid thing to do too, is to think that I have a plan, and then it's just well, my plan is to succeed. That's what I'm gonna do.
And it's step one.
Yeah. It's like that old meme that's go to desert, ? Profit.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Exactly. Oh my god. Okay, who's our next POV?
Next scene, we are going to Flicka. We're going right into the Sabinland Desert.
That may or may not exist from some other character's point of view.
She might not even exist at all.
Yeah.
Maybe she's a mirage. Okay, so Flicka sat grumpily on a cactus, viewing the bare desert landscape. There was nothing to do here but eat the flowers on cactuses. Cacti? Cactuses?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Cacti. A thing, yeah. Which is a thing frowned upon by everybody but the most bored vultures.
What?
It's
frowned upon?
Yeah.
It's against the social etiquette?
Don't eat the cactus flowers, you heathen. What are you doing?
So.
Yeah. Already, Flicka had eaten the unlucky flower on her cactus.
I love also, sorry to jump in, but a continual thing in your stories is boredom being the main villain.
That's an interesting pattern, isn't it? I didn't really think about that, but that was also with Malfin, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was with Malfin, and it was definitely with her because she was like, ugh, I don't want to go into that part of the desert, not because it's dangerous or anything, but because it's boring. Yeah, the stakes are high.
Yep, there was certainly nothing to do at all out here. Yep, absolutely nothing. That was pretty much it. Sure thing.
Is this all in there?
Yes. Yahoo! Nothing to do but listen to ordinary sounds, like the chirping of scrawny crickets, like the fascinating sound of the wind blowing, like the monotonous beat of wings. Wait.
Oh, I liked that.
The Yahoo is really great. Especially, I think I was sending this to my homeschool supervisor
Yahoo
teacher
account?
with a Yahoo account, baby.
I think I preferred Yahoo when it was Google versus Yahoo. I was like, I'm a Yahoo girl.
Yeah, a Yahooligan,
A
perhaps.
Yahooligan, not a goo girl.
Yeah, well, I mean, honestly, Yahoo is the reason that we actually have some of these stories to read at all, because
Yeah,
some
shout
of these,
out to Yahoo.
yeah, just a weird
A Yahoo
plug
to
there.
Yahoo.
Yeah, I know, like, this one was, I think, written in 2008 or something like that, so it is very old.
Yeah.
All right. So, wait, the monotonous beat of wings? Flicka listened harder. There it was, unfamiliar wing beats of a large, meat-eating bird, definitely a vulture. Her mind began racing.
She could hear that?
A visitor here? Yeah, I think that this may have been a bit lifted from Guardians of Ga'Hoole, that owl series that I
Okay.
was telling you about, because they had some characters in that who could hear very well, and they could hear so well that sometimes they could actually tell what type of bird it was based on the flight
Okay.
sounds. So because I gave Flicka hearing powers,
Yeah, she can do it.
essentially, yeah,
Okay.
Flicka's the one who's like, oh, it's a vulture.
Right.
Yeah, she can probably say how much he weighs, like if his heart's doing okay.
Okay.
Maybe she's like Daredevil, we'll find out.
Sure.
In this place where nothing ever happened? She blinked. Yes, she whispered to herself. Madly flapping her wings, Flicka launched off her cactus and flew as fast as she could back to the Sabinland headquarters. All caps lock here, by the way, so I'll just move back from the mic to spare you.
Sure.
Woo-tor! Woo-tor! She screamed just as soon as she got within hearing range. Unknown vulture approaching! Woo-tor calmly turned away from a group of other vultures he was talking to and looked at Flicka. What? Gritting her teeth. Wait a second.
Hold on.
What? What?
Oh, I love it.
I'm almost speechless at that. Gritting her teeth. It's like when Sigareth, opened his mouth, at least you could agree that all birds technically do have mouths.
Exactly.
Gritting her teeth.
This is great.
Like some birds, just technically some birds have teeth, but I don't like they don't grit them.
No, it's a complete humanization part, I think.
Yeah, that wow, that came out of nowhere. Suddenly this vulture has like big like cartoon teeth.
Yep, she has chompers.
Yeah. So gritting her teeth, Flicka said, "I just told you." Right.
Not everybody has your hearing.
I know,
Flicka.
especially, but she was screaming in all caps, which
Yeah, well,
has to
she's
be
probably
weird.
like 2 miles away. Anyway, probably not. Continue.
Right. I don't have good hearing like you.
Oh, there we go.
There we
See?
go. And I was busy, and you were screaming really loud. So you say a vulture is coming? Yes, cried Flicka. Woo-tor yawned. Okay, I'll check it out. Is it a boy or a girl, and where is he, she from? Well, I'd say it's a boy, and maybe the Malgicross realm, maybe from a high class, like even royalty, which is incredible that she can just tell that from their flight pattern.
I think that is definitely just a Jocelyn way of like, getting information across that you want them to have.
Yeah, it's important. Otherwise, they might just like hide from him.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
and
since-
it's a way for you to be like, her hearing is so good that she knows this stuff. But yeah.
Flicka the girl vulture, she's really pulling her weight here.
I love that his first question is like the gender too. Like he's so focused on whether or not they're boys or girls.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Wutor's the one who even said, like, I know you're a girl, Flicka, which is really strange.
Well, I know. So I think
So
that
here he
your
is.
idea of a cat, what is he, like a general?
Something like that.
It's just to be like, wait, before we continue, is it a boy or a girl?
He's like, ASL?
Yeah.
Flicka's like, you're so old. Shut up. Okay, continuing.
Yeah.
A slight spark of admiration appeared in Wutor's eyes. Well, you've done it again, he said. Provided more information than anyone else here could in a week of listening. I'll go out and you'll come with me. Oh, Flicka said. Do I have to come? Which is so funny.
My God.
She does not want to do anything, but
You
she's
were
also just
complaining about things being boring.
She's like, do I have to visit a royal vulture?
To satiate my curiosity that, like, must be immense. But no.
Yeah, maybe she thinks she's heard it all.
Well, I guess so. She's like, well, I already got all the information. I really don't need any more. I'm just going to go back to my extremely boring cactus.
Yeah, the one that doesn't have a flower anymore because I already ate it.
Out of boredom.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Like, what? Come on, man.
Yeah.
What do you want?
I'm really picking up on the weird, like, teenager, because I really think this is, like, a teenager kind of thing at the time. Like, that's how I felt about certain things, where I'm like, oh, like, I helped this thing, but I don't want to do it.
Exactly. So it's, you think that you are reflecting your own teenagehood and not, like, just trying to make the stereotypical teenager?
I think a little bit. I think Sigareth is way more the stereotypical one for me, because I was like, oh, he's kind of spoiled prince, maybe.
Yeah.
But Flicka's, she's giving a bit of Sigareth here, and I'm not sure why that's happening.
I don't know either. Okay, well, let's see what happens next.
So, ha! Cried Wutor. Do you honestly think you can get out of meeting this mystery vulture when you're the one who found him? What a riot! Come on, Flicka, let's head out. Drat, muttered Flicka. Just rats. End scene.
Also, what kind of, like, mercenary / like, army is this where you're just like, nah, I don't want to do it?
I know.
Like, screw you, sergeant.
I know, she's such a whiner.
I know, like, this is your job, and I just cannot see why you wouldn't want to do it, but, you know.
Yeah.
And it's not for any other reason than, like, she doesn't want to because it's, like, a pain in the ass instead of danger or whatever. It's not due to, like, her being a coward or anything. It's just, she just doesn't want to do it.
Like, honestly, the way that her first, like, whole thing got set up, I really would have expected her arc to be more like, I need to prove myself because
Right.
I'm a girl who was abandoned here as an egg.
Yeah, yeah, I would have expected the dynamic to be like, him, I'll go and check it out. Her, I'll come with you. Him, no, it's too dangerous. Her, I'm the one that heard them. I get to go and see. Mm-hmm. That would have been the normal dynamic. I'm really not getting a good vibe from Flicka here.
Yeah, she's very contradictory. She undercuts her own, like, motivation.
Yeah, right.
I'm bored, but I'd like to be more bored.
Yeah.
Please.
Basically, all she's wanting is praise.
Yeah, exactly. Give her the praise and then let her just, I don't know, sit on that cactus.
Sit on the
again.
cactus.
Yeah. I mean, maybe she could read a book. There's probably vulture books in this world.
There's vulture paper, so there's vulture books.
Gotta be. All right. So we are moving on to the next scene. Oh boy, there are some exclamation marks and question marks here. So for the next couple of dialogue pieces, I'm just going to make my voice kind of go like this. And that's how you know that there's at least like 7 exclamation marks and exclamation marks and question marks.
Right.
Like alternating.
I love the passion.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I believe. Oh, and we are back with Zarathos. So
my favorite.
Yeah, here we go. It's Julia's favorite character time.
Yes.
You mean you didn't get the herbs? Syntathros cried.
I'm imagining it ending in like a bird screech, you know?
Yes, a vulture going like, "Arr!"
Exactly.
By the way, we haven't actually met Syntathros yet. We've heard about him.
Yeah.
But here he is actually speaking for the first time. So welcome, Syntathros.
Oh, yes.
His name is spelled Scyn. Tathros.
Are there spaces?
No.
Okay.
Of course not.
I was just...
I think that I wanted his name to be shortened to Sint, but if it's spelled Scynt, that's really cool.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's a good name. They're good names. I like the names.
Thank you.
So I'm imagining him as being like an aged vulture, like very scraggly. This might not be the case, but that's how I'm seeing him, is that this older, world-wise vulture with missing feathers and a very croaky voice.
That would be great. I'm pretty sure he's like the blandest of all the characters I designed here, unfortunately. But I am now going to imagine him with a vulture beard. Yeah.
All right, headcanon accepted. Actually, it is canon because you are the writer.
Yeah, I can do whatever the heck I want, and that's what we're doing here.
All right, let's hear him.
So, you mean you didn't get the herbs? And you neglected the paper? Malfin yelled. And you forgot about getting the seeds? Syntathros howled. And you didn't pick up that inkwell I needed? Malfin barked. Yes, I didn't, and I said I'd get some later! Zarathos screeched back. Many exclamation marks.
This is an excellent... I'm imagining hearing it from the outside. It's just great. Also, love the use of words that would be used with dog characters.
I didn't even pick that up.
Yeah, I'm very much not hearing vultures here now.
They're howling.
They are barking. Excellent.
Yeah. Next thing you know, they'll be wagging their tails, and I'll be like, oh, but like vultures can do that. I don't know why you're thinking it's dogs now. So Zarathos screeches back. Silence fell. Good squirrels, you guys know how to yell. Once again,
we have another.
Yeah, and I think they're all by Zarathos so far. I think he's the main one who
he's
really
got a potty
likes.
Mouth.
Yeah, he likes to just like use the names of different rodents that he may or may not eat.
Yeah,
or may not treat at this hospital
Eat
for
or
birds
treat.
or rodents.
Did he say rats yet? Or was that
That
somebody
was
else?
Flicka. Flicka said rats.
Okay.
Which is also like, people know rats are quite intelligent, but are they intelligent in this world?
I don't know if it matters.
Yeah. Was that marmot even intelligent, or was it just like, is this like actually a vet, like a vulture vet? Like what's going on
that's
here?
another one. Did they have, are these animals just animals, and therefore we have vulture vets and vulture have pets? Vulture pets.
It could be like Arthur rules, Arthur the Aardvark.
Where like there are pets.
Yeah. I wonder. This could make a really interesting horror story.
It could.
Yeah, maybe that'll be something we do. Maybe we'll make a horror version outline of this story sometime.
Oh, that would be interesting.
So, good squirrels, you know how to yell.
Wait, he's saying this?
Zarathos. So Zero says
But didn't
this.
he just yell?
He yelled back at them.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
did he yell and then say this?
Yeah,
So
did.
he screamed and then saying, you know how to yell. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Zero.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of at least that's kind of in character with him.
That's true.
He's a little funny.
He's a little funny.
Good squirrels, you guys know how to yell. Obviously, Zarathos, Malfin said. When it isn't normal for you to not come back with anything, we want to have answers. So
Can you go through that like triple negative, please? I did not get that. Please help.
Absolutely. When it isn't normal for you to not come back with anything, we want to have answers.
Oh, that's hurting my brain.
So I think he's trying to say, when it's normal for you to come back with stuff,
Okay.
but instead he's saying it's not normal for you to not come back with anything. But
Right. Okay, so it does actually make sense.
technically it does. It actually is a double negative.
Double. It would be double.
Yeah, it works though.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Right.
It's technically correct, even though it's not readable in the slightest.
No.
Yeah, Zarathos said.
Was that exclamation points?
The yeah?
Yeah.
No, that's just a yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Zarathos said. Yeah, about that. Well, After a few moments of recollection, Zarathos recounted everything.
So, like, he came in and he said nothing, and then they just lit into him immediately. Because I would have assumed that with this response, he would have already been halfway into explaining himself. And then they're like, but wait, you didn't get the stuff you mean?
Yeah, this is an interesting in media res, isn't it? It's like he lands and they're screaming at him.
They're automatically on him.
Yeah, they're like, Zarathos, how could you forget the herbs, the paper, the seeds, and the inkwell? We see you don't have it on you. What happened? I can't believe you're just so irresponsible.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, what if I got beat up?
Yeah, exactly. Give the man, I mean the vulture, a minute.
Yeah, he needs time to like grit his teeth and come up with a good response here.
Sure does. All right, let's hear it.
So Zarathos recounted everything. I guess that's him recounting everything. You're crazy, cried Sintothros.
What? Okay.
Yeah, isn't that nice when you can just say like he told them everything and then you don't have to write as much.
Yeah, I mean that's good job, Jocelyn. Little Jocelyn, you found a little shortcut there.
It's more like authors love this, readers hate this because then they have to like remember everything, and if they put the book down, they're like, "Wait, what happened?"
Yeah, we've already had like a couple of people since then. Right.
Mm-hmm. Especially when their names are 3 syllables long, most of them.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Zarathos tells them everything, which we have to assume is that he ran into the king's son in the alley and then was like, gotta go. And so Sintothros says, you're crazy. Malfin and Zarathos stared at him in shock. I've never heard you say anything that way before, Sintothros, Zarathos said.
In what way? In what way did he not hear him ever say that? Like that phrasing or that tone?
Yeah, is that like... Because I mean, I know that like you shouldn't call people crazy. Like,
yeah.
Because like so, but I definitely didn't know about that in like when I was like 14.
No, of course not. And you know, this guy's already been screaming at him, so Zero's no like stranger to being yelled at.
Yeah, this is very weird.
Okay, continue.
Okay, hopefully we get some light onto what's going on here. I know, muttered Sintothros, but do you two know what this means? Malfin and Zarathos stared blankly at Sintothros. It's starting to get wear on me, these long names.
Yeah.
By blackberries, you're right, cried Zarathos. It's him again. He said it. He made us another one.
So this is a character thing. He has all of these exclamations.
Good squirrels. Buy blackberries. He even said black feathers. Yeah, he is the one who quote unquote curses in this world.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Zarathos finally gets it. Gets what? Maybe. Hopefully, I write
what
more.
Did we get? I did not get anything.
Because Sintothros asked, do you know what this means? And they stare at him, and then Zarathos says, buy blackberries, you're right. And Malfin grins as it dawns on him, which once again, I think Malfin's the only one who's grinned, but it's a little strange that they can
I think so.
do that. That young king is probably in considerable danger right now. What with the black feathers roaming, eh, Zarathos? Said Malfin. Maybe this is Canadian. Just another little...
Perhaps.
I think
so.
Added with the moose.
There we go.
Yes, Malfin, I think that he is in need of help. Sintothros nodded. You two go out there and find him. If you have to, use force. For what? Pardon me?
On whom?
Sintothros, you are talking to Malfino Thorvicus. I know everything about runaway royalty. Oh, I think this is a bit of a revelation. Malfin has a full name. Malfino Thorvicus.
Malfino.
Like Tofino. A beautiful place to visit.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and if he knows everything about runaway royalty, maybe this is a little revelation about his past too.
Yeah, I think so. That past that was hinted at that like had some kind of controversy.
Mm-hmm. Zarathos is like, oh, if they heard about Malfin, something might be up.
I love that. Like it is actually confirmed then that they're talking about using force against what's his face?
Sigareth, the king's son.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is interesting. It seems as though Sintothros is directing these two to go and just kidnap him, just like the pirates.
Right. And also, like, again, they just neglect the very, very easy solution of telling his dad.
Oh yeah, yeah. Who would do that? You know, no one can. You shouldn't trust a king.
Of course not.
And that's why they're going to kidnap the prince, because you can't trust royalty.
Exactly. Use force against the king's son. That's better.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, because he's in danger from the Blackfeather, so it's better that they get him, I assume.
I guess.
I hope.
Yeah.
Ha! Sintathros said, chuckling mightily. You two get out of here and do your job, okay?
What?
This is so dire. It's like actually kind of grim. They're all like laughing and jovial, like it's another adventure, fellas.
I know. There's like ha's and like barking laughter everywhere.
Fine, Zarathos said, stretching his wings. We should be back in 2 days. Since it took me until late afternoon to get back, maybe more. Probably less.
But
See you then.
He had to drive. He had to fly there and then back.
Yeah. We don't know, like, as the crow flies, doesn't seem to be like a real distance here. This is a little strange, honestly.
And he's just like all fine to just start flying again. No food. No rest. He can get up and go again.
No ink, no parchment, no seeds, no herbs.
No, just ready to go.
Yep.
I guess they can get that on the way then.
Yeah, they'll find something dead.
Yeah.
Which is also really funny because like most of roadkill is like from cars and
oh yeah.
I don't we did discuss if there are humans in this because they seem to have like some human style buildings.
Yeah.
But thus far we haven't mentioned roads, so maybe that'll make an appearance later and we'll find out this is all happening in like Texas.
Perhaps.
Malfin nodded to Sintathros. I hope you meet no trouble while we're gone. Ha! Sintathros said again. We healers are not known. It should be not known. We healers are not known for getting into trouble, only helping others get out. Farewell. It's a little also kind of grim for him to be like, oh, I'll probably get into trouble, but that's fine. I'll just help someone else.
What kind of world is this? Are they routinely in danger in that cave?
His famous cave
that
anyone can come to and get healed, apparently.
Right.
Yeah. Farewell, and may the winds be strong, Zarathos and Malfin said together. Then they looked at each other, nodded, and flew off into the waning day. End chapter.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was a pretty involved chapter.
It was. So let's recap what happened. We have Sigareth going to the desert to find out if these people exist after hearing that there are some pirates that want to kill his father.
And him, although they kind of just say like, oh, we'll just throw him into the desert.
He was an afterthought.
Yeah.
And then we have him approaching the desert and Flicka hearing him, and that's it. Then we have the return of Zero to the cave, and they decide to go all the way back to protect the king's son and to bring him back home.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? I think that there's a little bit of world building in here that hints that there's two realms. One is called the Malgicross realm, and that is Sigareth's like last name. He's Sigareth Malgicross, the Malgicross king. And I believe that when Zarathos was flying to that weird mud city that I think is called the Malgicross City, so they're really creative with their names here.
Right.
I think he also saw or said or heard something about the Thorvicus realm.
Yeah.
So if this had been written better, Malfin revealing his full name would have been way more of a almost like a surprise,
right.
Like a real revelation. Like, hold on a second, like this guy who has a mysterious like injury from a war, from something going on. He's depressed. Like, what's up with that?
Right.
That would be like a bombshell. Like, oh, like we're following a runaway royalty. Like, what's his deal?
Yeah. Right. There's something in here.
Yeah, I do appreciate that Zarathos and Malfin seem to be friends.
Right.
Like, so far, I think they're the two most interesting characters because...
Remind me, was Zarathos the one that was cooking?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, he got into a fight with the badger because
That's right.
yeah, the badger tried to make pancakes, which is just obscene.
Of course.
Who would do that?
So now we have like this buddy story of them on this mission together to get the king's son, which is not a bad setup. I think I would like a lot more motivation to do it. Like they're like, oh, the king will be so grateful he will give us a grant for the hospital or something like that.
That would be so good.
Yeah, like if we had a better reason for them to do this thing instead of just going right to the father and telling him, then I think it's a pretty good setup.
Yeah, I think that's actually a really interesting point because in a lot of stories, what makes them interesting and what makes them work is the fact that the characters can't do the obvious thing. And because in most cases when like, you know, you have a thriller story where someone gets kidnapped, like most of us would just go to the police and that's what we would do. We wouldn't, like in Liam Neeson's Taken, pull out our set of skills and go across the world and blah blah blah. But like it feels like in this story I'm kind of following that structure.
Sure.
Where like you can't just do the obvious thing, like, but I don't know how to pull it off.
Right.
Yet.
Exactly.
So it's interesting to see that I'm kind of like following, like I'm coloring in the blanks of like a picture, like a watercolor picture, but I just don't know like what colors actually go together and why.
Right. Huh. Well, I think that was was that just one chapter altogether?
That was just one chapter.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That occupied the whole hour.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I am looking forward to seeing where Zero and Malfin get to in the next chapter. And I'm interested to see how Sagareth interacts with the mercenaries in the desert.
Yeah, let's hope that he has a plan.
Yeah, and I like that this entire thing is all based off of one drunken conversation in a bar.
Yeah.
Like these guys could have just been shooting the
bird crap.
They could have been just shooting the bird crap in this bar about like, what if we just killed the king?
This is our plan. And then they just gonna explain it all.
They just set off a plot that they didn't even realize.
That's true. Actually, that's such a good point. Yeah. What if they weren't even planning on this?
Right. And they're just like innocently talking about, as people do, and then suddenly they're going to get attacked by the royal guard or whatever for saying that again.
Yeah, the secret mercenaries of the desert will all come down on full force.
Yeah, like is that what they're planning on doing? Just killing these guys? I mean, obviously Jocelyn's going to write it so that they deserve it and they have this active plan to kill the king. Mm-hmm. But what if they didn't?
Yeah, this teenager prince just like overhears a conversation and is like, well, I'm going to take the nuclear option.
Oh gosh. Okay, well, I think we'll sign off on this chapter and join us next time for the 4th chapter of, remind me of the name of the story.
The name of the story is Feathers of Night.
It is written by Jocelyn, age 14-ish. And we hope that you'll join us next time.
Thanks for following along.